you guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Emily, and in today's video we are going to do kind of a Q&A slash FAQ of questions that I have gotten on various social media platforms, social media groups, and just different questions that I have gotten a lot that I thought I would come put in one place, and when I eventually learn how to do it, I'm going to pin it to the top of my channel, so that way if you're new, you will always have just one spot to where I can answer all of these kinds of questions, so that way they're all in just one big long video. And just to let you know, this is going to be a classic long ranty video. So if you don't like watching long videos or don't have the time, add this to your watch later, or just close out of it and come back when you have a few minutes, because this is going to be long, but I think you should definitely stick around and watch, because this is going to be very informative. So the first question I got was, do you have any sleep tips or sleeping tips as someone who is visually impaired? I've had issues sleeping since I became visually impaired 3 years ago. Do you have any tips that could help, and does it get better over time? I lost my vision completely at the age of 5, so I was really little, so I don't know if it gets better over time. I've just been completely blind for most of my life, so I have adapted, but there are lots of people who have a lot of sleeping issues, so this is just some of the tips that I've heard. What helps me a lot is like doing a certain routine around bedtime. Like, I have a skincare routine that I always do, or that I've started to do very recently, that really just helps me relax and kind of unwind, and just kind of lets my brain know that it is time for bed. And it's helped me, and I've heard a lot of people who have a lot of sleeping issues is trying to stick to or as close as you can. Life doesn't always allow you to keep a perfect routine, but just kind of keep like somewhat of a schedule of going to, sleep at around the same time and waking up at around the same time, just to help regulate your body. And if these kind of don't work, I always have heard that it's good to talk to your doctor. If you have like a primary care doctor, or maybe even your eye doctor, talk to them about your sleeping issues. Maybe they can, I know if they think you have 924 or non-24, which is a sleep-wake rhythm disorder, I've heard that there's a particular medicine for that, or they could put you on, maybe help you figure out the right dose of melatonin or something like that, to help you stabilize your sleep-wake cycles, if that's something you're struggling with. My next question is, what do you do in a time when you need to get paperwork done? And for my particular use case, there's a few different options. I will call the doctor's office as soon as I know that I'm in a situation where I'm going to need, in a situation where I know that I'm going to need help. I will call the doctor's office as early as I can, and let them kind of explain my situation if it's a situation I'm not sure about, and just kind of explain, hey, I have XYZ disability that makes it to where I can't, like for me, that I can't see to fill out the paperwork, or it makes it hard for me to write the information down to do the paperwork. Just kind of explain your situation. And I've heard people are nervous about not letting someone be with you. But if you have a legitimate disability, I've never had, and I'm someone who has lots of medical issues, I've never had any doctor say that once I explained my disability, said that I couldn't have someone with me. As long as you explain your situation and why you might need someone with you to help you with like paperwork or whatever it is you might need help with, or if you're in a situation that you can't get someone to help you, most doctors' offices and hospitals are really good about, just if you say, hi, I can't fill out this paperwork independently for XYZ because of XYZ disability, reading it aloud to you, or I've also been in situations where it's like a consent form. I know some hospitals will allow you to do verbal consent, where you just tell them like, yes, I consent to XYZ test, or I've just had really good experiences with doctors' offices, as long as I let them know, like when I'm making the appointment, like, hey, I can't see to fill out this paperwork, can you read it to me? Can y'all send it to me ahead of time in an accessible format, or send it to me in whatever format y'all have available so I can bring it in to y'all ready to go. There is just tons of different options. I've just found it best to call the doctor's office as soon as you know, and kind of explain to them the accommodations that you might need, or try to keep, like, if your situation allows, have someone at that can bring you to the doctor who kind of knows your medical history, so that way you're not having to tell them everything every time, and that just kind of simplifies the process. But yeah, hope that answers that question. But on to the next question is, how do you watch TV? I use something, or a lot of blind people I know use something called audio description, which is like a separate track that is recorded usually by, I think, like a professional voice actor or something like that, or just a professional who's trained in audio description, who reads a script, and it's a separate track on top of a movie or a TV show, and it describes things like body language, or facial expressions, outfits, or just anything that your eyes would pick up that you normally wouldn't be able to tell if your eyes were closed. So just imagine like closing your eyes during a movie and seeing what you miss, or during like a TV show and seeing what you miss. And that's kind of what audio description kind of helps fill in those blanks for someone who can't see what is going on. The next question on this list is, how do you use technology? I use screen readers, which reads the screen to me. Which reads to me what's on the screen. I also use a braille note taker, which is like a tablet which is like a tablet with a braille display. I have a video about the braille device that I use that y'all can go look back on my channel and find, which I plan on doing more videos on in the future once I get it fixed. We're currently working on getting it fixed, but I use an iPhone, an iPad, and a Windows computer. And every system has, every mainstream technology nowadays usually has some form of screen reading software. I know iPhone, an iPad, like anything made by Apple, Macs, iPods, iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches, use a screen reader called VoiceOver. And Android has a screen reader called TalkBack. And Windows has a few different options. Their free options are NVDA, which is non-visual desktop access, which is something that you can download off of, I believe it's, if you just Google NVDA, it'll pull it up, the website to go to. Or Narrator, which is their built-in, which is still needs some work. That's why a lot of people don't use it. Or you could pay for, which what I use on Windows is a screen reader called JAWS by a company called Freedom Scientific, which is owned by Vispero now. And that's just a few examples. I know Chrome, like the Chrome OS on Chromebooks, has a screen reader. I don't know what it's called. I think Linux has a screen reader, but I don't know for sure. But Amazon, like Fire devices, use Voice View. So I would say 98% of all modern OSs have some form of screen reader. If you want to know more about it, you can just type in the device you use /accessibility. Like you can just type in like Fire Stick accessibility features for the blind, and you can learn more about it and stuff like that. And then for people who still have some remaining vision, there's things like magnifiers, which enlarge the text. There's different, I know on iPhone it's called Smart Invert, which can change the color of backgrounds and text depending on what you need. There's zooming features where you can zoom in on things. So I don't know as much about those because I don't have any vision, so I don't use those. But those are also available for people who have low vision. I believe that you can just type in whatever device you use and vision and low vision features, and you should be able to find like how to enlarge the text and different things like that. My next one is more like a statement, is not all blind people are totally blind. Blindness is a wide range, entails a large range of conditions which lead to people having different amounts of vision. There are so many, countless different ways people can lose vision. I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep my papers in order here, but there's countless ways that people can lose their vision. You can, like for me, like it was a retina detachment. You know, people can have things wrong with their retinas, their corneas, you know, just things can deteriorate. You can have eye issues due to diabetes. There's glaucoma, like high pressures in the eyes. There's so many things that can go wrong that can, optic nerve issues. there's just so many different things that can go wrong. So, like, in my situation, yes, I am total. Like the classic, don't have any light perception, anything like that, like with the stereotypical, like what you think about as a blind person. Cool fact, last time I looked it up, only 10% of people who are diagnosed as blind or with a visual impairment are completely blind. Some people usually have light perception or some shadow perception. So when you meet someone and they say blind, don't, it's 9 times out of 10, they're generally okay with you asking, are you completely blind? Do you have any vision at all? As long as it's coming from a place of trying to figure out the best way how to help them. And also, bonus question I forgot to write down on here. I've had people ask me, if you see a blind person walking down the street, what do you do? And what I tell people is, if I look lost, I say do what I would hope you would do for anyone who looks lost. If they look lost or something, walk up to them or walk up to me. We're going to say, what if you see me walking down the street? I would hope you would do what you would do for anyone who looks lost. Just walk up to them or, tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, I saw you walking down the street and you look a little confused. How may I help you? And most people, as long as you approach it like that, will say, oh, where's the bakery or something like that. Or we'll just say, no, thank you, I'm good. Or might ask you, this is, First Street, for example. We will, if you frame the question like that, most of us will either be like, no, thank you, I'm good, or tell you how you can help us. Most of us who you see walking around with canes or guide dogs have had extensive orientation and mobility training, which we learned how to use our canes. We've learned how to navigate and do what we need to get done. And so if we say no, we got it, no, we don't need help. And, just, give us the respect. And please don't ever just walk up to a blind person and grab them and pull them if you think that they're going in the wrong direction. Unless, like, a car is about to hit me in 2 seconds. Like, you wouldn't want someone to grab you and drag you across the street. You don't know. There has been a couple times where I've almost been late to important classes, important things, because I was grabbed and moved. And then the person just walked away and didn't give me any orientation. And a lot of time you can't get them in trouble because you don't have any way of describing what they looked like, or there wasn't any cameras around to prove what happened. And they can't do anything if you can't prove who did it. So, and it's just frustrating that, you're putting the person in more danger for leaving them disoriented, and two, it's just frustrating that people can get away with stuff like that. So I just want you, to think, how would I want to be treated? And, just kind of go based off of that before you, do anything. And I live by the hashtag Ask Don't Grab. Just ask before you do anything to make sure we actually need help. Enough with that rant. Let's move on to the next statement. the next thing I have written down is this is a statement I used to get a lot whenever I was little, which is more frustrating than anything. I know a lot of my a lot of my friends who have a lot of vision will still hear this. It's where it says, "You don't look blind." Like, what does that even mean? Like, I know people generally mean this with, like, they think they're giving you a compliment, I think, is where a lot of this comes from. They're like, "Oh, you don't look like you have a disability." And I'm like, what is that? I really want to know, if you made it this far, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Like, I think it means that, like, I feel like in a way you're just trying to give me a compliment, but it's more frustrating. It's like, well, you want my doctor's report that proves I'm blind? Like, I don't know. It gets frustrating when I'm trying to ask for, it hasn't happened in a really long time, but like when I'm trying to ask for help and they're like, "Oh, you don't look blind." I feel like it's like a compliment, but it feels more like a backhanded compliment. Like, I didn't realize you needed help because you didn't look like you had a disability. And that's just frustrating more than anything. So, maybe instead of saying like you don't look blind, I feel like there's a better ways of saying that. Maybe just saying like oh, like maybe just saying something along the lines of, maybe just asking the question is what I'm trying to say, is like ask the question that you're meaning to ask. Like, maybe just, ask, like, how'd you learn how to navigate so well? Or, just ask, like, how'd you learn how to get around so well? Or something like that, instead of just being like, oh, I didn't realize blind people, could do that. Or I didn't realize blind people, I don't know. It just feels like to me that you're saying that, like, blind people aren't supposed to look normal or something. But that could just be me being easily annoyed by that, because I used to get it a lot whenever I was little. But let's move on from that tangent. My next question I have written down is, what kind of cane do you use and why? I use a folding graphite cane from the company Ambutech, and it's currently pink and blue. The standard cane is usually all white, with except for red on the bottom. But the company Ambutech sells colored canes, and I will share my opinion on those in a moment. But my cane also has a jumbo rolling tip. I like the jumbo rolling tip because it is shaped like a disc. I've talked about tips briefly in, I think, another video, but if y'all want a more dedicated video on that, I can do that. But I I use the jumbo tip because it doesn't get caught because it's shaped like a disc. It doesn't get caught in as many cracks as some of the other roller tips do, and it's bigger, so a lot of people don't like it because it's heavier, but I like it. And I like using the folding canes by Ambutech because the NFB canes to me are too light and too flimsy. I've had tips pop off of them, and I've had to walk really long distances without a tip, and it's not fun. But I know several people who absolutely adore the NFB canes, but they're just not for me. I think it's because I am a heavy-handed cane user, but yeah, I digress. And then my next question is, what is your thoughts on colored canes? my thoughts on these is that they are awesome. I love them. I probably haven't used a standard colored cane in probably a couple of years. Just because I love, being able to express my sense of style. And that's what I think it is. As long as you're using colors the colors that like people can still see, then you're good. Like mine is like my cane that I'm using right now is a bright pink and a bright teal. So I feel like if you don't know what the colors look like, get someone to double check just to make sure, people can still see you. But that people can still see you, but I understand the opposition against them because in some states there is strict rules around that, but I feel like a cane is a cane. Like if a driver is going to recognize a cane, they're going to recognize it no matter if it's white or red or pink and teal. Like that doesn't matter. And then my last question, it's kind of more of a question to you guys more than a question for me to answer. So that was kind of my last question about me. But I wanted to ask, would y'all like to see some more kind of long-winded videos like this, but from maybe some other questions, but with other blind people? Maybe people with different degrees of vision and people like who have different storylines and different things like that. Actually, just let me know down below. But actually, I just have a couple more questions that I get. I was a cheerleader from the time I was 4 until I graduated high school when I was 17, about to be 18. So I've been asked, how did I do cheer? And a lot of that I did was just people either verbally explaining to me their routine and I would copy them, or them doing like hand over hand where they would put like stand behind me and literally put their hand over my hands and put my hands and my arms like where they are in the positions that they needed to be in. I've also been asked just how do you get around so well as someone who can't see? In places I know, it is memorization, but in places I don't know, I ask questions, or I'll do sighted guide, or I just kind of use I've been trained by several orientation and mobility specialists on how to use sounds and different cues around me to kind of make the best informed decision that I can based on how to navigate based on my surroundings. But I think that's it. And like I've said, I did forget one more thing. What is your eye condition? I get a lot of questions about that. I have a eye condition called coloboma, which is, at the time I was born, it was rare. I don't know the statistics now, but it is an eye condition where there are holes in the middle of my retinas on both sides. So as a baby, I had peripheral vision, but as I got older, when I was 5, my retinas detached, leaving me completely blind. If you want more information on that, look back to my first video where I talk about what my eye condition is in greater detail. But I'm actually done this time. I hope y'all enjoyed and stayed to the end. If y'all have any more questions I didn't think of, leave them down below. thank you to everyone who contributed to this Q&A/FAQ, and I hope y'all enjoyed. I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye!
Take picture. Stop. 30-minute viewfinder. Stop recording video.